Hi friends, back for another video. One of the things that is fun about this is coming up with kind of unique topics and ideas and what you want to talk about, what you want to share, kind of how to group things and organize it. And one of the ideas that I had was to basically thank some of the other YouTubers just for them sharing some of their knowledge, their insights, some of the unique finds and new paths to kind of dive down and see, maybe a new opportunity within the hobby that I hadn't thought of or just wasn't even aware of. And this past week, Graig on Midlife had a question when he does his viewer questions, and it was talking about the liability or kind of the responsibility or how do you feel if somebody's making decisions based upon what you're sharing? So viewing it as maybe an investment or a direction in the hobby, almost like advising. And obviously there's no, licensing. There's no way to say you're a professional collector, you're an amateur collector, there probably would be no liability in any kind of real term, but just, maybe the feeling that I influenced somebody that made a decision based upon something I shared. And there definitely are channels out there. I probably don't watch them that flat out tell you should be buying this, you should be doing this. With vintage, most of my favorite players are not only retired, but probably aren't even living. So in that case, you tend to not see quite the hyper fluctuation and big changes in values unless people just realize there's a new, limited run that nobody was really aware of, or people just kind of catch fire with a certain player for a certain reason. So a lot of people are speculating like Larry Doby might be that guy next. Not that we should all go out and buy Larry Doby, and who knows, but I think he's finally being recognized maybe more socially for his impact and his contribution. So whether that translates to card pricing or not, it's just something to think about and be aware of. But it's, at the end of the day, it's everyone's just unique opinion. And it's funny because I felt like that was a little bit more of a accusatory question, or maybe a negative spin on it. Maybe accusatory is too strong. And from my perspective, I actually love seeing people share things, because sometimes it's going to be things that are, way outside the scope of interest or outside the scope of budget. But other times it's something you start diving into and you're like, oh, wow. Or it just leads to that next question. So I'm going to share a little bit of that. So sorry for the long introduction. I tend to not be that. I'm not trying to give a lecture or a sermon here. I just want to simply share some thoughts and dive in and share some cards. So first one I'm going to share, and actually I saw him at Strongsville. Had the opportunity to meet face to face for a couple minutes and just chat. And one of the topics that came up was Tom Seaver. It's really fun being in a room of just all folks that are hardcore collectors. So one of the things that was shared by Sammy Thunder was a postcard from 1967 of Tom Seaver. I've been pursuing since, so if anyone has one, wants to share it with me, I would be more than happy to negotiate and see if that worked out. But that's something that's been on my hit list now ever since I've seen it. And because I couldn't find that, and I believe maybe it was Mr. Mangini that might have shared in one of his videos, but I did come up with this and found this. So definitely a fan, definitely enjoy the looks of all this. Just the display, even the size of it is kind of cool. So 1973 Topps Pinups, Tom Seaver. I'm also a big Tom Seaver fan. Phenomenal pitcher career. Just amazing. So super cool. When you take a look at the back, obviously these have a little bit more of a story, and I don't want to deep dive on the full story of the item and uniqueness of it, but very, very low population, very, very unique, and just a cool piece. Might not have found that had Sammy not shared some of his deep dives and unique things. Transogram's another one. I did pick up a Transogram Seaver, which I probably should have pulled and shared, but for another day. I'll share my Seaver collection at some point. So as modest and not broad as it may be, I will share what I do have. The next one I'm going to share is actually one from Jason with Everyday Card Collector. Super cool videos. Really enjoyed, got to meet Jason as well. And he's been just, phenomenal friend in the hobby just for the last month plus. But he was sharing this. His version of this card 52 Bowman, Billy Pierce. So Billy Pierce is definitely a Hall of Fame, very good. If you're a Chicago collector or specifically a White Sox collector, Billy Pierce is, statue worthy, team Hall of Fame worthy, big Hall of Fame, probably not. Hall of very good. He's very on the border. He has a beautiful copy with an amazing story of, some sentimental reasons, and he has it graded, and it's very, very sharp card. Really, really nice looking. Respect his copy of that. But when I saw it, I'm like, what a cool image. I just really, really like, what that card looks like. Being Billy Pierce and 52 Bowman, it's not the most scarce of cards, and it's not the most high profile of player. It's not Mantle and Mays and things. So, looked it up, picked that up on eBay for $4, free shipping. So, good addition. It's just a cool looking card, and for a few dollars, I will definitely get some enjoyment out of that for the next, 50 years, just kind of looking through my collection and seeing another cool Billy Pierce. I probably won't collect his entire, player run for any reason. I guess maybe if I get bored enough at some point, maybe I'll go after it. But for right now, I've got 3 or 4 Billy Pierce cards, and that makes me pretty happy at this point. So I'm good. Next one I'm going to share was one that, again, going back to Mr. Mangini. He's always sharing those unique, kind of crazy finds, and sometimes you don't know if it's going to be a big dollar card or a low dollar card, which I really respect. I like the fact that you got to do a little bit of research on your own and see, like, does that fit within my collecting profile? But this is one he shared, so getting into what it actually says. So it's an old school Walter Payton. Cool thing is he's in a different jersey number. I like weird, I like odd, I like unique kind of things like that. So back of it's nice, clean. It's a BVG holder. I know for some people that's, sinful, but for me, that's no issue. But it's a 1978 Wholesome. So a Topps production. So it'd be his third year. 76 is his rookie. But that's just kind of an oddball, a little bit different, unique kind of card. Really enjoyed it. It's a nice grade. Cool looking card. But what that did is it kind of spurred me to thinking, so what else is out there? So a lot of times I find myself Googling, unique or most valuable or most scarce or rare, and then a player that I want to collect. So Walter Payton, I've got his whole player run. I've got a couple of offshoots and some, inactions and all pro cards and things like that. But I did come up with this, and I thought that was a cool addition to add to the collection as well. So, getting a little bit closer, 1977, so it'd be a second year Topps Mexican issue. So obviously on the front, we leave the traditional English version. It is completely Spanish version. Everything on that card looks similar. If you were to not read and just look at the image, it looks exactly like your 77 Topps would. 77's the year I was born, so I tend to be a little more biased towards 77s as well. But that turns out to be actually a pretty big dollar card in my world, my definition of big dollar. Obviously a 2 became a little more affordable. Nicer grades are definitely healthy by most anyone's standards. But one of the cool things when you get into things like this is it's something that doesn't come up, every several months. If you go look for listings, you might see 1, you might see 2, you might see none. But very, very scarce, fairly low population, obviously. And so it's fun. And it actually turns out to be my most expensive Walter Payton card. So it's not even his rookie anymore. So that one kind of took over. So thank you for the idea, and, kind of sends you off the beaten path a little bit, and then you find something new. So appreciate that. Next one I'm going to go with just a little bit more generic, and it's more mindset. And I've seen a lot of conversations. I believe Sammy and Orlando from A Collector's Dream and John Mangini had a conversation recently talking about this. And it's just, finding those one-off, unique, scarce cards and what you do. And Dave Blue Jacket's another one that at least got to bump into briefly at Strongsville. But all of them kind of share that same mindset, that same advice. When you get into these really, unique, lower population, 1-2 sales a year kind of things, sometimes when you see it, you just got to say, do I want it? And, if so, maybe you pay a little bit above what you would comp it out at, but how do you even comp it? So I really struggle with the idea of showing like a 20 best or 50 best or 100 best cards, because I don't know how to rank them. Some of these cards that I bought last year, I am the comp. So I don't know if I overpaid or got a good deal or paid exactly market, but if no more sold, the price that I paid is the price. It never moves until either another one fortunately pops up or I sell mine. So I don't really know how to even list that for value. Going beyond just like a, VCP kind of idea. I don't know what it's worth. I'll assume I paid fair and sleep at night and enjoy the fact that I have it. So I did add one of these. Notice that the older cards, a lot of times you run into the same pose over and over and over and over. And so when you can find a player that you at least sort of collect, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore collector of this player, but definitely wanted more than one or two examples. So I've got a few now, but I thought this was just such a cool pose. So I'm going to kind of get you so you can see what it is. It's a T207 brown background, Tris Speaker. I think that's just such a nice looking, fun card. So having a few Tris Speakers, got the T205, T206, T207 now. So I don't know if you call that like a player run of tobacco. I don't have the T213, so I got to add that. So that's on the hit list too. But to me, that's just such a clean, nice, different kind of pose. I'm holding the bat like that. Nice view of the jersey. So very, very fun. Go through and kind of show that part of it too. There's a little bit of a glary blur going on there. So make sure that card shows up. It's poor. This thing can definitely get out of hand, and I probably, will admit I paid a little bit over what I would have hoped to. But I think it's the first and only sale so far. There's one right now for auction if anyone's interested. It's a 2. That could see that going for not a whole lot more than I picked that one up for. But looking at the ranges, I felt like that was one that you might not see come up again. Some years there's 2 or 3 sales, some year there's none. Would it come up? So there's the other restriction when you talk about scarcity. If there's 100 of them, you might have 60 or 70 that are just too nice for what you're trying to buy. 52 Topps Mantle, I'd love to own one day. It doesn't really matter that there's, hundreds and thousands of them, because anything that's 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm not moving to pick up a Mantle. It would have to be one where I could say, we're at a point where I can pick up a really, really pretty destroyed 1, a beautiful A. So something like that would be exciting and fun, and a one-time down the road goal. But for today, I really don't look at the high grade ones as even being an option, because the price is exorbitant and outside the scope of anything I could do. And then the last one, I did mention Graig at the start, and I would say one of the things that I have in common with the ideas of what he does, he's a Matt Manning collector, because he had Matt Manning in class, and it sounds like they're still pretty well connected. So I did teach high school for 5 years as well. I believe there's 2 players right now in MLB that were at the school when I was. Didn't have either one of them in class. I'd hear about them from other baseball players in my classes, and they talk about how good they were, and I always say, well, take business classes, learn what to do with your money if you're that good, and if you're not, God forbid you fall back on a nice career that you enjoy. So I always tried to recruit my athletes to take business courses. But this person, this student, I also didn't have in class. He was a senior when I was at my first year of teaching, basketball player. He had a study hall, and it was with my department chair. So in the first year of teaching, I'd go in and meet with her on a weekly basis at least, and just go over some of the expectations of a new teacher and whatnot. And he was always in there just kind of working in her office. It wasn't study hall class. It was literally just him having a study hall. So it was kind of one-on-one. So I'd go in there and be like, hey, Shorty, what's going on? Hey, Tiny, what's up? Always very respectful, very intelligent student, super hardworking, very, very motivated. So you kind of end up respecting the heck out of a kid like that. And when I'd call him Tiny, he was like 6'7", 240. So he was anything but. But Graig inspired me. I didn't have any of his cards. And I was kind of thinking, that's a shame, because what a nice kid. And Sometimes when you buy someone's card, you almost feel like you're supporting them. Just like another vote in the market saying like, yeah, good dude. Hall of Fame career, maybe not. Amazing college career, absolutely. One of the most fun things in high school was hearing the announcements. You hear, Mikey had, 6 points and 4 assists, and PD had, 11 points and 3 rebounds and a steal. And then you'd hear the stats for this guy, Luke Herringody. So some of you may have heard of him, some of you may have not. A little bit older, and that's Celtics. He played for a few teams in the NBA. Was pretty dominant in his college career. Went to Notre Dame, which coming out of the high school I was at was definitely a big deal and almost the end target for several folks. But it was just so fun to hear the announcements, and you'd hear, Luke had 28 points and 16 rebounds and 9 blocks and 3 assists and 2 steals, and you're just like, man, that guy's filling up the stat sheet. So I'm going to pick up a few of his cards just for fun. And I kind of, I thank Graig for just the idea that, collect people you know and you like, because, I don't know if Matt Manning will be Hall of Famer, Hall of Very Good, have a long career, hopefully all good things to him. But you don't know, but you kind of invest along the way, just in more so in the person and the relationship than you do looking for a big return on the card. That's not really what it's all about. It's about having fun, collecting what you enjoy. And I do thank all these different YouTubers that have kind of inspired me and taken me down some new rabbit holes and new concepts, and even introducing me to lines of cards that I didn't know existed. So I appreciate all of that. Thank you all. I hope nobody takes anybody's influence to be a negative or something that is directing their choices. We all have free will, and I hope everyone's just enjoying the hobby, spending within comfort, using hobby budget, and just having fun, building some community and enjoying learning together. So until next time, talk to you soon.